Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and Thor Love and Thunder populates the MCU with a wider mix of oddballs, but leaves a few seats unoccupied at the orgy. For those feeling like that ampersand between the Love and the Thunder originally had a lot more room for, say, another half hour of gore butchering more gods, you ain't wrong. We are learning more and more of deleted scenes and rejected concepts, fully removed sequences, and now with increasing calls for a director's cut to be released. I'm gonna break down everything we know that was left out of this movie and what we've learned about this rumored director's cut. Oh, by the way, the best way to support New Rockstars is to check out our Worthy of Love shirt at newrockstarsmerch.com. Worthy of love, because you are. And this video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform for building your brand. More on them later. For being a god butcher, we don't actually see Gore murder that many gods. Excuse me, this god butcher will be butchering some gods, won't he? Hello? Is anyone there?
I really hate that man.
The only one we see Gore kill is Rapu in the opening scene, and then off screen he kills Falagar. He tries to kill Sif, but leaves her behind, I guess, to send a message. That Guardian's distress call map mentions over 1,000 other kills, including 3 corpses hanging from hooks from Isad Ribic's comics art, the head of another god, the corpse of another. We also know from King Yakan's line that Gore killed the gods of the Indigarians as well. But it has now been confirmed from Christian Bale and Taika Waititi that they did shoot several Gore murder scenes. Christian Bale recently being quoted saying that they left gold on the cutting room floor. Really creepy stuff. But we know this would have included at least one scene with Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master from Thor Ragnarok, Peter Dinklage as Eitri from Infinity War, and Lena Headey as an unspecified goddess. Now, we did see a skeleton of some giant creature that I speculated might have been part of Eitri's race, but this skeleton seems like it's been dead for years, maybe left up chained for decades, and since Gore has really been on this slaughter recently, it doesn't seem like it was a recent kill. I guess it could have been one of Thanos' victims since he killed the other Nidavelirian dwarves. I'm just not sure. But killing off the Grandmaster might have closed too many doors in the MCU. He is considered an elder of the universe alongside his brother the Collector, Tannelir Tavan, whose fate remains unknown. The last we saw of him was a Reality Stone illusion cast by Thanos in Infinity War. I'm dying to know what goddess Lena Headey was going to be playing. She might have played the true forms of one of the statues we saw in the chamber, like Infinity or Death. Like, think about it. Cersei Lannister would make an amazing Mistress Death of the MCU. Now remember, when Thor brought Gore's threat to Zeus's attention, Zeus said, "That guy, he killed a couple of low-level gods, boo-hoo." So it confirms that Zeus knew about these victims but did not care. Now there was one Greek god that was credited in the movie's credits, whom I had some trouble spotting in this chamber. Actress Priscilla Doheny, credited as Artemis God. It's just kind of inconsistent which gods in the scene get credited and which don't, but Artemis being credited might indicate that Artemis had some bigger scene that was cut. She might have actually been one of those victims on the Guardian's star map screen. And since Artemis is Zeus's daughter, that would make Zeus even more apathetic and cruel, and further justify why Dionysus, another one of Zeus's kids, was such a suck-up. Now, another major deleted scene was Jane Foster's power-up. The theatrical cut never shows the moment Jane transforms into the mighty Thor. We just see the broken pieces of Mjolnir stirring, and then we cut away, and Jane is just revealed later in the middle of the battle after some time has passed with her heroics at New Asgard. But we know the production shot this scene from set footage. Natalie Portman was on a crane and wire apparatus being raised off the ground while she was standing beside the Mjolnir pedestal, her body flailing around. Excluding this transition makes Jane's arrival mid-battle more of a surprise. I suppose more of a visually strategic reveal, keeping the viewer's eye focused just on the broken hammer first before inviting scrutiny on Jane's physique. But it's also just possible that the production hit its limit with the VFX. Now, if you hate your job, or maybe you hate not having a job, then maybe you can make 2022 the year you start your own business. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence for that new business. You want a website that projects that you know what you're doing, and Squarespace does just that. Squarespace has a bunch of great features to help your business be successful. You can present members-only gated content, create email campaigns, or add online booking for appointments or sessions, all from the Squarespace interface. I really dig the analytics section of a Squarespace website where you can dig into what's working and what you should be doing more of. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/newrockstars to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. That's squarespace.com/newrockstars for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Jane's transformation would have been a complex VFX shot, one specifically tricky to balance with the emotions of Jane's cancer-stricken body powering up into a cosmic god. Like, that kind of moment can't really be played for laughs or even for a gross shock value the way characters hulking out look like, but it also can't really look cheap. They would have to have nailed this perfectly, and maybe at the end of the day they just couldn't really pull it off, because Taika Waititi and Tessa Thompson joked in another video with Vanity Fair how they actually ran out of time to perfect Korg in another scene. And recently you may have seen how some VFX artists who worked on other Marvel titles have begun to speak out how the studio is putting too much strain on them to fully master sequences just for the studio to change their minds last minute. So maybe in this case, Taika just scrapped the scene. It's just interesting to hear them talk about how much this film was figured out on the fly.
Weirdly, on these big movies, everything takes so much longer to shoot. The main thing on this was that we just kept experimenting with the story and trying to figure out like the best narrative. Have new dialogue, and we'd come back and we just wanted like one more angle, just someone explaining, oh, this is what the villain wants.
Yeah, and from that, it sounds like Gore's plan changed in this movie. In the theatrical cut, Gore kidnaps the children of Asgard and takes them to the Shadow Realm. And then they end up with him in the Chamber of the Cosmic Entities, but we don't really see these kids on the Shadow Realm planet or really know why they're with Gore when he approaches eternity. So I'm guessing there was some other removed portion of the movie's second act in which Gore either didn't kidnap the kids or really, I think is more likely, the dude just continued his killing spree. Because think about it, a serial killer like Gore the God Butcher just makes more sense that we would spend the second act of that film with him killing higher and higher profile gods. Every movie with a serial killer, whether it's Seven or The Dark Knight, that's what the killer does in the second act. He kills. Now, much of this town hall scene actually had to be reconfigured, it sounds like. Like, think about it, it's pretty weird we don't see where Jane goes anytime she blasts off. And Tessa Thompson even pointed out a weird take that Taika kept in without him realizing it.
See this shot when I go, it's because it used to be when he would wake up. That was my reaction. But you just left it there randomly. Doesn't make any sense, but I love it.
Now, moving on to some other rejected ideas, we learned from concept art commissioned to the Odd Studio of Australia that originally Russell Crowe was considered to play the devil instead of Zeus. Art shows him as a hooved devil holding the severed human foot that he was munching on. Now, this wouldn't necessarily be Mephisto. This isn't really what Mephisto looks like. Not all devils look the same. This just kind of looks like a general satanic figure. We also know from the trailer that there were a few deleted one-off takes, like that shot of Valkyrie licking gold blood off her sword. Really bummed that didn't make it in the movie. I love that shot, even if it does like freak me out. Don't lick blades. Taika also admitted in interviews that they planned to work in more Kate Bush music until Stranger Things stole their thunder with Running Up That Hill. Taika said he had a sequence in mind for Jane Foster set to Kate Bush's This Woman's Work. He also wanted to expand more on ABBA. This movie's flashback, of course, includes ABBA's Our Last Summer, but Taika said his idea was for Thor to love ABBA, seeing the Swedish band as a Viking band, and for there to even be a music video dance number set to ABBA. Now, when Taika Waititi was asked about releasing a director's cut or many of these deleted scenes, he told New Music Express that he's not that big on director's cuts and believes deleted scenes are deleted for a reason.
You know, I often think about this, about director's cuts. I watch director's cuts from a lot of other directors. They suck. Director's cuts are not good. You know, directors need to be controlled sometimes. If I was to say like, oh, you gotta watch my director's cut, it's 4.5 hours long. It's not good. 4.5 hours. You know, there's a lot of cup of tea breaks in there. You don't even have to pause it. My cut would probably have a few more jokes, or there might be a couple of little deleted scenes. The scene is deleted because it's not good enough to be in the film. It doesn't help the movie.
An interesting hot take. I mean, I hear Waititi that deleted scenes are deleted for a reason. They often would not make the movie better at all. But I just cannot agree with the guy when it comes to the director's cuts of movies like the Lord of the Rings trilogy or Blade Runner or Aliens. There's just too many examples of great director's cuts out there to say that they generally suck. Are you crazy? But then again, I am also someone who just loves to learn everything about how the sausage gets made. To me, learning all the creative sacrifices made in movies and all the awkward first drafts that they went through just make me appreciate the creative process even more. I like to demythologize filmmakers. They're not gods. They're just mortals like us. Artists struggling through this process, having to make impossible decisions. And the more I know about the jobs, the more I respect them as artists. Also, I love sausage. Up in Sinclair's jungle may have grossed you out, but for me, those chunks of Lithuanian meat packers who fell in the vat taste so good. If you're not too grossed out, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss. Follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.